Education session. After a moment of silence, and everybody please remember the people and everybody in Nashville and Cookeville, everything please. After a moment of silence, I'd like for that young man in the Jonesboro Tigers baseball outfit to come up and lead us in the pledge of the flag. Okay, come ahead, young man.
That's fine. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. I see we think we got one county commissioner here, Danny Edens. Danny's sitting back there. Don't see anybody else. Do you, Mr. Flanders? Okay. Thank you all for coming today, staff and principals and everybody, teachers. I need a motion to consider the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Chad Fleeger. Discussion? Okay. Sorry. Okay, everybody please vote. You all, we're trying something new today. This is the new Board Connect. So we'll see how we get along. I'm voting. Everybody voted for it. I've lost my agenda. There it is. Consider it. I need a motion to consider the meeting agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the meeting agenda.
I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Ready to vote? All right. Director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is a very unique project going on right now at Jonesboro Middle School in conjunction with the McKinney Center in Jonesboro. I don't think I want to even try to describe it. I'm going to ask the principal to come up and tell us what's going on. We have a group of fifth graders with us tonight who's going to do some original verse, poetry, and singing. So, Mr. McKee, fill us in. What's going on?
All right. Well, these young ladies and gentlemen are part of a play that we are working on at Jonesboro Middle School. We're in a partnership with the McKinney Center this year. So starting in January, our 5th through 8th grade, every Friday, they're coming to the cafeteria, and they are actually creating a play with their stories. They're composing music and writing poetry. And they're going to put all of these things together. And in May, everybody at Jonesboro Middle School is going to go to the McKinney Center, and these students are going to present a play. So, and it all consists of their own stories. So at this time, I'm going to let the director, Jules Corrier, come up, and she's going to discuss what our 5th graders have been doing.
So our 5th graders through 8th graders have been really active. They've been doing storytelling with each other, and creating scenes and songs and poems with their work. Tonight, we just wanted to give you a little bit of a preview of what we're doing. They don't have their piano player with them tonight because he's holding down a rehearsal that's happening at the McKinney Center right now. But the kids are going to be able to sing to you their song that goes with this scene. And the actual play that they're going to do is going to be about an hour long, but the kids are in charge. The kids are leading through the entire process. So they wrote, they composed, and they created what you're about to see, okay? And I think we've titled it Get Off the Boat.
Yes.
It's titled Get Off the Boat, the scene and the song, okay? So which way should we face? Oh, hell. You should hear them in the cafeteria. So which way should we face? Should we face the board? Face the audience? Okay. So this is our boat. Well, this is just a prototype of our boat, but it was good enough for tonight, okay? So let's line up like we did before. And then we've got our
One day my family went out in my Nana's boat. My mom wanted me to learn how to swim, and I said she said just jump off the boat. I was scared. I didn't want to. She asked again. I decided to. Just do it. I was still scared, but I did it. Now I feel strong. And now here's the song, Get Off the Boat. Get off the boat, get off the boat. No, 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 I'm scared. Get off the boat, get off the boat. No, 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 I can't. Just do it, you got this. I can, I will. You do it, you got this. I must, I will. He got off the boat, he got off the boat. Yes, I'm swimming now. He got off the boat, he got off the boat. Now he's strong.
And you'll see a lot more when we've got all the instruments and music, but they did a great job.
Thank you. Just leave it right there.
And we will invite you to the play. We've had a few snow days, so we're a little bit behind some play practice, but we will let you know when the full play starts in May. Thank you.
Great, thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
Well, we really know how to clean out the audience, don't we?
Board members, each year the Tennessee Department of Education sponsors the Teacher of the Year program. This program is an opportunity to recognize and celebrate outstanding teachers in our schools, our school systems, and across the state of Tennessee. Tonight I want to present to the Board of Education Washington County's grade level Teachers of the Year. And I thought we might as well just go ahead and get up here for a photo op. So if we want to arrange ourselves, we'll call these folks up, ladies up. Recognize them individually and as a group. Jared, you got the camera. You want to arrange this, please?
Board member, girl.
Let's see.
Taller people in the back.
Come down here.
Is that how they do it?
I think that's, I saw the Brady Bunch one time. Taller kids in the back.
You get up there in the front. You need to
Come on up.
Look at back in the back.
Let them get on the
Start walking a little bit. Come on up here. How's that feel?
I love that.
All right.
I don't think it's
Washington County System Level Teacher of the Year 2021 in pre-K through grade 4 category is Michelle Hensley, first grade teacher at Boones Creek Elementary School.
I like going to the steakhouse.
trouble focusing.
Just turn it, Jerry.
Congratulations. The 2021 System Level Teacher of the Year in the grade 5 through 8 category is Diana O'Neill, science teacher at Sulphur Springs Elementary School.
Everybody smile. Beautiful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And at the high school level, our System Level Teacher of the Year for 2020-2021 is Kelly Davenport, vocal music teacher from David.
Smile, Mr. Gager.
Thought it was.
If we could get all
Congratulations,
three
Kelly.
at one time.
All together now, all right.
Appreciate you.
This is for the web page, so y'all.
Oh, this is the big one, this is money shot. Here we
That's what I was
go.
waiting for.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much.
Mr. Secretary.
Come on. Trying to spit my water on this. You fix that, won't you, Mr. Patrick? Where's our Brad?
No.
I'll send him an email.
We used to make them repair after children, but
Same difference.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Just about clean the room out. so-
Thank you, Mr. Patrick.
You're welcome.
You're not getting the check, sit down.
everybody's a comedian.
Oh, it ain't.
I had a request for a agenda item to review our policy with TC Risk Management. This is not something that we do often. In fact, we're not sure we've ever done it ever. So I want to ask Brad Hale to come up and talk about what it costs and the bid history on this. And then we'll talk about the policy itself. Okay?
Okay, so we have some slides that Jennifer's in the process of pulling up. And this is a summary of the last 5 years of what our expense has been with Tennessee Risk Management. And there's a few different components. And we have a way to get that enlarged to the full screen. Sure, we'll see if we can figure that out. But in a nutshell, the evidence that we have found here is we don't think this has ever been bid out. It's not a service that requires us to be, we're not required by law to bid this out. So it's, at least since 1986, it has not been bid out. I do know that because one of my employees has been here since 1986. And then checking with Dr. Kieran, and she never remembers it being bid out as well. But again, the auditors, the state doesn't require us to bid this service out, so we're not required to. So if you will scroll down to where we can get that top, there's some numbers at the top down there. So that gives you the number, and this is overall system expense going back through FY16. The reason the note is there for FY19 and 20, some of you will remember we had to start picking up the property management, the property piece of the insurance that in the past the county had picked up, but the state auditors, when they came in a couple of years ago, they told us we couldn't do that anymore, so that was transferred to the school system. Best we can tell, I think the year I heard was since at least 1972 the county had paid that, so up until FY19. So I'll, on the next slide, go ahead and pull that and get that whole slide shown. Yeah, there you go, come down just a little. And so so this slide, I pulled that property piece out. So that gives you apples to apples comparison of what the overall expense has been over a 5-year trend for the same products that we've had. So, so you can see it's pretty close, just varies a little bit. And so what we'll do, these next 5 slides will give you each component of what makes up those totals. So workers' compensation, and that just varies depending on what type of claims we've had. So we had it spiked there in FY18, but still somewhat close there with what that runs on an average year. And so going to the next slide, there's the property. I think we skipped one, but I can see if we can go back. Yeah, there's property. So that's the piece that we didn't have any expense up until FY19 that the county, it was on the county's books. So it increased for FY20 because we added the new Boones Creek School, and we currently still own the 2 older Boones Creek buildings. So that's why that piece went up this year. So the vehicle insurance, that's been constant at $113,000 per year for that piece for the last 5 years. And that's just for system vehicles, of course. Liability insurance, and so you can see still somewhat constant there, 116 to 130, 161 at the high point, but over the last 5 years, we're 136. For this year, for FY20, we've already paid this out. They are paid once a year, usually in June, or excuse me, July is when we usually pay those. And then the last piece, this is just other, and I'll tell you what makes this is a smaller piece of it, of course, and you can see that's most years it's very close. Now what that is that surety bond that we're required to have, boilers, errors and omissions, and then student athletics. All those go into that component that Tennessee Risk Management carries for us. So that's a breakdown of the last 5 years and the expenses that we've had with Tennessee Risk Management. So
Brad, stay handy. Jared, just said, you want to go over what exactly we get for our meeting, $200,000?
I mean, Brad pretty much covered most of it. I mean, they cover, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
One quick question. Aren't we members or owners of this group? Am I remembering that
I'll
right?
have to double check that. I do not know that answer off the top of my head. I can find out in the morning.
Because Ben would have known this sure a little while ago. But I'm thinking all the school systems that participate in this are members or owners or something of this Tennessee Risk Management.
Correct me if I'm wrong, has TSDA not dissolved its relationship with Tennessee Risk?
Yes.
And that happened some time ago.
Yeah, about
4 or 5 years.
longer than that, I think.
They had a building together and then they sold the building
It was
and
long ago.
moved their separate directions.
Jared, go ahead if you will, my friend.
Well, I was just going to say Brad pretty much covered most of it. I mean, that they provide our insurance for everything that we need to insure besides health insurance. So if it's a school van, a school bus, if it's a teacher lawsuit, if it's a boiler, whatever else that is covered, that needs to be covered through insurance, we do that through Tennessee Risk Management. One of the things that, you know, the human resources, Heather Riddle deals mostly with them. The thing we like most about having Tennessee Risk Management, and again, it's the only one we've ever known, is we have an agent local. So if we have an issue, we can call somebody local and say, hey, you know, we had a bus accident, here's all the relevant documentation, and they take care of it. We don't have to get online and fill something out. We don't have to stay on hold and wait for somebody, or, you know, work through some kind of call progression. We were able to call a human being, and they take care of it for us. We've had a really good relationship with these people since we've been with them.
Where is that place at?
Somewhere in Johnson City, I believe. I'm not exactly sure the address of it, but it's local.
But we paid them a fee, is that right, to be that?
I'm sure they get a
Third
cut of that,
party.
yeah. It's like having your own insurance agent.
On the property coverage, and the bump up for the Boones Creek Elementary, it's about a $40,000 increase. Any idea how much that will come down when we divest ourselves of the Boones Creek Middle and Elementary schools?
Yeah,
Off the top
Go
of my
ahead.
head, I don't have that figure off the
I
top of my
do.
head.
It's
but-
off the top of my head, it's
Yeah.
about $4,500 per school.
New Boones Creek School is larger, of course.
All right, and full disclosure, I called Tammy Grissom, Dr. Grissom said there's at least one other firm that is in the same business. that does that. So if the board does choose to rebid this, you'll have more than one bid. I called Toss and they knew of nobody that did this. So I'll pause if the board wants to discuss this issue.
What's the board's wishes?
I brought this to light and asked Dr. Flannery to do this, just for the simple fact that since I had been on the board, you know, it had never been brought forth to the board and looked at. And they're gonna find out, you know, it's been 30 years, or maybe ever since we took them on. So, you know, I was just going off the fact that we've been trying to look at things, see where we can save money, cost-cutting things, and me personally, I'd like to bid it out and see if we can't save some money here. That's the reason this has been brought forth.
Policy current expires July 1, 2020, so.
Now would be the time.
Are you putting it in form of a motion?
Well, I want to leave it open for discussion a little bit, because I don't like when we jump straight to a motion, people do get to discuss it, say how they feel on something, so no one else
Well,
has
who would be the person to come, would it be the person in Johnson City to come and negotiate or tell us about their Tennessee risk management? I mean, or is this other company that you're talking about, where are they from?
I was in junior high so I don't know.
Well, I mean, who is this other company?
Well, generally, what we would tend to do is try to
I've
identify.
got the name written down, it's on my desk, it's a similar sounding.
We would get the bid together, identify the appropriate businesses that might be able to bid on it, and send them the bids, and of course, put it in the newspaper and that kind of stuff, and then we have a bid opening, just like we do all the time.
Well, I would rather do business.
Probably would be writing specifications.
Well, I would rather do business with somebody here in this county
The
that I
third
would.
party is here. It's Tennessee Risk Management's not here.
Right.
It's the third party that.
Well, I mean,
But
if
that
that
can
third
stay
party,
the same.
where's that third party at?
Johnson City.
Johnson City.
So it could be another person in Johnson
And it
City.
can stay the same. It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's
Now,
just the third
you know,
party.
The counties, all their properties insured with local government insurance. I don't know if they do boards of education as well, but I would, and it is a pool. It is a member organization, so, you know, I mean, you can certainly, if you put out a request for quotes or proposals or information, I think you could end up maybe saving some premium dollars, I don't know.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I guess based on the years I've been on this board and knowing through the years what they've covered for us, I guess my first question would be, and I'm not opposed to bidding it out, however, have we had any issues of payment of scenarios where we had damages or claims and so forth? Haven't they always been real good to us?
They've been fantastic for us. But, I mean, and I'm not playing devil's advocate, but we've never known anybody else, so they do well by us. I mean, we don't have to chase them down or anything like that.
I mean, if this board were to direct administration to bid it, I don't think this is one of those things that require you to take the low bid.
I'm sure not.
So, I mean, you know, you could still stay with the same company if you so chose. It just kind of helps give you a sanity check to me on your premiums.
As far as finance goes, we've had no issues at all dealing with, on our sides. We've
The
had no
legal
complaints.
representation they provide has been excellent as well.
That's a whole lot of what I'm talking about.
Well, and it gets, I'm sorry, if we spec'd it out, you know, we could get to a level, I think that might be, Mr. Meredith, where the differences would be if we're looking for a certain liability level, like for our liability insurance for our teachers, it's $1 million per person, so, you know, per incident, I should say. And if we bid it out like that, some companies may not want to give us $1 million worth of coverage. So, you know, we would have to ascertain what level of coverage we want to, if not maintain, at least keep for our folks and, you know, again, for our vehicles and that kind of stuff.
To bid it, we'd have to make sure each component of this has all the specifics. It wouldn't be just a simple bid, I mean, we'd have to be very
Right.
specific with each component to make sure we get the same coverage.
I know that through the years that Tennessee Risk Management has covered a lot of school systems. I want to say it was 70 or 80 several years ago. But if we bid it out, I'd certainly like to know how many school systems the other bidding company covers, to know how experienced they are with school systems.
Okay.
I make a motion that we bid this out.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second. Hold up.
The motion is to bid out,
The Tennessee Risk Management.
Well,
bid out insurance
not
provider.
insurance, yeah.
Property taxes, line
Chad Plain seconds it. Any more discussion?
When have we used it recently? I mean, not
Every day.
really?
Every
Oh,
time we go to court, it's the.
it's there behind, okay.
Yeah, anytime we file anything, traffic, vehicles, students,
We had a maintenance van, car ran into it the other day, so it's in the body shop right now.
Doug, do we have, on the liability stuff, do we have like a $500 deductible? You know,
For,
for, you know, if we bang into somebody or.
oh, I'm looking at that, okay. I'd have to look at that, I'm not that in-depth on it for the,
No, that's right.
You talking about the auto insurance?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, if we
that's
have,
what
if we have any damage and stuff, you know, we've got some.
500 property.
yeah.
That's all right, that's it's not that important.
Yeah, we would just have to go through each one of these sections systematically and make sure that we, here's the deductible for each occurrence.
Yeah, for each occurrence, it's $500.
Okay, we'll bring it to the vote.
Right there it is.
I'm disappointed in
You
was the first one to miss it.
died, I don't.
You don't get
I think the wrong thing, I don't know.
Motion passes.
Rest assured, we'll be involved in the board's attorney in getting these facts together.
Yes.
All right. Daniel Boone High School senior, Layton Jones, who has 45 days of school left in high school, will now bring this month's We Are Washington County report. We can get that up on the screen.
Alright, so, if you can go click it, maybe. Do I have to do that? Yeah, just go ahead. Okay. So Read Across America was just recently at our middle schools, and I don't know if you know who that guy is, but you read it, Boone's Creek, right?
What was the book? Green Eggs and Ham.
Right. And then our beta club at Daniel Boone, we went to Ridgeview and Silver Springs and we read to them. I couldn't find any pictures of that, but there's that. And so, okay, our Lady Blazers, they've been doing exceptionally well this year in basketball. They played the regional championship last night, and it was not a good game, but they get to play for sub-state at Maryville on Saturday, I believe. So we're going to wish them good luck. And then, the Lego League. Lamar, we had more schools go, but Lamar placed third in teamwork, and they got a cool little Lego trophy that I like. And then Crockett's baseball facilities come along, and then I can't wait for baseball season. My favorite season. Love it. Both of the hosted clubs at Crockett and Daniel Boone are having blood drives. So Boone's is on Friday, and then Crockett's is on Monday. And then
Ridgeview and Boones Creek are going to raise money to donate to Putnam County, Tennessee after the disaster, the tornadoes and everything in Nashville. So,
Thanks, Lee. Let's see, University of Tennessee, majoring in engineering. All right, under other, and this just came together in the last couple of days. By now, certainly you've heard that Tennessee health officials have identified an individual in Williamson County tested positive for the COVID-19 disease of coronavirus. I want you to know that a coronavirus school response plan has been developed by our coordinated school health personnel. It was developed alongside our colleagues in Johnson City. If you look at our plan and their plan, it'll look identical because it was developed together. It's been vetted by the Washington County Health Department and the Washington County Emergency Management Office. It's based on procedures outlined by the Federal Center for Disease Control. This plan was distributed to our schools this past Tuesday morning. It can be viewed in BOE Connect if you care to look at it. We have developed, and by we I mean Kelly, has developed a one-pager for parents on how to talk to children about coronavirus, and that'll be pushed out tomorrow to our schools and to our parents through our digital means. I can tell you that area school directors, superintendents, are now having weekly conference calls with Ballard Health and with our respective county health department directors. First call was this past Tuesday, and the information that we received was truly invaluable. The board's communicable disease policy has not been updated since 1998. I'll ask Dr. Keys to come forward now and fix that little problem.
This policy is part of our TSBA review of policies. We just haven't gotten there yet. But in their review, they said it could be the same. So when Dr. Flannery asked me to present this to you tonight, I emailed TSBA and they did not recommend any changes. But Kelly looked over it and we would like to make a few changes, and then Scott Bennett also recommended a few changes. So if you look at it, if you look down to lines 14 and 15, Scott recommended that we add the language in green that precludes educating the child in the general education setting. We would like to remove the language in red for special education services and change that to the Director of Student Services for a recommendation of support, because sometimes the student does not need to be referred to special ed. It could be something else. And so our Director of Student Services can make that decision on where to send the child. And then the last language in red does not have to be there by law either. But those would be the only changes.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that the board pass waive first reading and adopt this one.
Okay, I have a motion.
That's not.
I'm asking for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we bypass first reading on this 6.403 for second and final read.
No second.
Second. Okay, any more discussion?
Thank you all.
We voted. I did. Who we like?
There they are.
Okay. Motion passes.
If any board member has a specific question for Kelly Wagner, she's in the room. Okay. We intentionally kept the director's report short for tonight, and there are no annual agenda items to discuss, so that would leave it to the legislative session. I'm done.
Okay. Now we have the legislative update. Who does that?
Well, maybe the 4 members that went to the day on the hill.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
4 members that went on the Day of the Hill, could y'all speak about your trip? Do you remember any of it?
Parts of it.
Parts of it?
We were able to meet with our 3 representatives, or 2 reps from the state senators for there at one time. And there's certain bills we don't have to worry about being presented this year, but they're going to look at still trying to get more BEP dollars through I don't want to call it an amendment, but the bill last year was a voucher bill. They're looking at addressing that again.
So they're not rolling it out this year, or are they? Is it gonna start the
They were requesting.
charter schools, I guess, well, the vouchers, that's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, but they were looking, weren't they seeking more BEP money for the, yeah,
Okay,
and that was a big issue, I think.
yeah.
Mr. Irvin, the meeting itself that TSBA put on was a good meeting. Some of it is the type of things that we've covered at some are lost. The meeting itself would have been most beneficial for a relatively new board member. How the legislation works, how the committees work, and how they get bills through, and just a lot of elementary information on things like that. One of the things that we did discuss with Matthew was the bill that he had sponsored to remove the requirement for his ed teacher to be certified. And he assured us that he had entered the paperwork to remove his name from that bill. He said he was not given the entire truth about that bill. So that we had some good conversations with Rusty, Micah, and Matthew as a group. But it was a good meeting. I encourage anybody that can to go to Day on the Hill or whatever they call it next year. The exposure you get is very valuable in what we do. The more we know about it, the more we can perform better what we do here. I really believe that. And it's always good to get with our legislators. Makes it a lot easier to talk to them when we need to talk to them about a lot of the issues that come up that are important to Washington County.
Anybody else? Thank you. Todd, you got anything?
No, I will say, I think that they call it the legislative and legal now instead of Day on the Hill. But it is, they changed the format, of course. I said that, I think last month, just updating you on, because change the format, trying to make it more conducive for others to come, because it's got a lot of complaints, on Day on the Hill, because, you invite legislators and they don't come. They try many different ways to encourage that, but yet they would never come, so that's why they changed the format this year. And just to help board members understand a little bit more how the process goes and whatnot, and to go over what is being introduced. We'll say a lot of the, there was quite a few actually, the TSBA, and it's not on here, but they took no stand on. And a lot of it was just because of wording. The board felt like, if you change a word here or there, they might support it, or vice versa. If something was changed, that we couldn't support it. So there was quite a few that had no support. But other than that, that's...
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I was going to say this, I was going to say it for a retreat, and I think we ought to be a little more proactive earlier. I think we need to try and get our state legislators and our state senator here one evening for about an hour or some point in time, because they start drafting legislation to go through committees in the fall. And if we could, maybe target September, something like that, and just, have a more personal discussion, not rush, but not keep them, you know, maybe hour and a half, maybe we could look at doing that downstairs. Not necessarily an official meeting, but just more of a session like like when we go to nationals. I think we could get a lot out of that. Just for everybody to consider.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, there was one piece I called TOS, I called TSBA, and I talked to our attorney today. There was one piece of legislation that is particularly troubling. Should be a file in front of it that says TSBA oppose. And if you look down, the fifth one down, House Bill 2869, Senate Bill 2108. If this is enacted, people from outside of Washington County schools, parents, can send their children to a Washington County school until such time as our class sizes are maxed out, and there's not a thing this school board can do about it, except hire more teachers. So this board is really interested in keeping particularly K-2 class sizes low. This bill would take away all local control of class sizes. Schools like Ridgeview and Boones Creek that are student magnets, they'd max out if this passes.
So by student enrollment, the state, that would be like 25?
Yes. If we want all the kids we can get, but we don't want to max out class size.
We did express that one too, in the
They
legislative.
understood
We
that.
did get that across. I can't remember everything on it, we did discuss that.
Can you back it back down just a little bit? I can't read it on this screen.
Which number one?
28.
You can enlarge it, Mr. McLean, on your computer there.
I can't have.
You got cross arrows up in the right-hand corner.
I've got a heft up there.
Well, that's
Wait a minute.
cross arrows.
Let me show you.
I'll let you say.
Push that button.
Push that
Heck.
Okay.
If you want to go back down, push the mice.
Dad Burn, if you didn't teach me something. I can't believe it. Sign it up. They didn't go over that in classes after that.
Yes, they did. I asked.
Oh, I was
I
absent.
said, I can't read this.
I must have been absent.
What number are you?
Whatever that bill was you talking about.
2869, 2108, and
Yeah,
2869.
Senate Bill 2108, right here.
2108.
Yeah. Transferring
Let's go
students.
there, pre-K.
There is a bill that would require school systems to offer pre-K to every family in the school
That's
system.
that first one up there, I was just
The
reading.
fiscal impact for local school systems in Tennessee would be $109 million. You can look at that. I don't think it'll go. The governor's early grade literacy program is meeting so much resistance from big school systems that our attorney said leave it alone. So the big boys are going to fight this on their own. And I understand from our early grade people, we don't like it any more than Memphis does. And it is dead on arrival across the state.
Unless they fund it.
To me, it's kind of comical because it wasn't too long ago, they were saying how pre-K was useless.
Yeah.
And then now they're wanting everybody to have it.
That could easily be $2 million price tag.
So it's an unfunded mandate.
Unfunded. That's all I've got.
Is that all you had?
That's all I've got.
Okay, committee reports. Athletics. Mr. Gaines.
Okay? Wait till it gets pulled up. Okay, the athletics committee met earlier in the week, March 2nd. Hopefully, everyone had the opportunity to look at it. I believe it was dropped in the Google Drive earlier in the week. Did everyone get an opportunity to look at it? Okay, so that being said, I move for approval of the report.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Yes, Travis. Let me ask a question. Can we go on this on a voice vote? We can't we? Okay. All those in favor of the report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, Mr. Ganger.
We had no recommendations. I will say, only one item we had on the agenda was the consideration of discussion of combining, consolidating baseball at the middle schools for the north and the south complexes, or not complexes, but schools. And we had a good hour-long discussion on this, which did involve the ADs. Principals were invited, and we had a host of principals. You can see the names of those that did come. And Miss Weems, the softball coach at David Crockett, was also here. But the committee asked Dr. Flannery and the ADs to get together and organize a plan, and we will have another meeting come next week or next month. And I don't know if that was in the minutes or not. It is, okay.
And it's also on your board calendar on the front of BOE too.
Okay, I don't see that date. What was it?
April 6th.
April 6th at 4:30. We'll have another meeting to continue discussions of that.
Mr. Ganger, our meeting will happen on March the 24th.
Okay.
Questions? What are the advantages of it, besides cost cutting, I guess?
You gotta go to the meeting.
There's a lot of advantages, and I guess, I'll give you advantages just from me. I mean, what I see is an advantage, but somebody else may not. So, but one is, I wouldn't even say the cost cutting, but it would cost cut. But it's also, we've consolidated football, soccer at the other schools, and what that does is it helps us as a system have better head coaches in the positions. And then by doing that, you're getting your kids ready for the high school level. I've always said, I even said in the meeting, for, one of Washington County's problems in athletics has always been our kids go to the high school and they don't even know the sport they've been playing since they were little kids. And that may not make sense to you, but if you've played or if you've coached, you understand that our kids, the first 2 years, they waste in high school trying to learn their sport. And hopefully by getting better coaching at the middle school level will reflect in the high school level. And I think we've seen that through our soccer and our football. Kids are coming better prepared to play at that level. Another thing is the safety issue. There is a safety issue. We have 6th graders, and we actually had a principal who is a mother of a 6th grader. And, she stated in the meeting that, granted, she's excited for her child to be playing baseball, but she's also worried because he's a 6th grader and he's smaller. And you go up against 8th graders sometimes, and that can be a very big size difference, strength difference. So security is an issue, and I think it's in your report. The ADs also produced how many games ended in run rules, and it was well over 50% games ended in run rules. That means one team's killing another team, so it ends before 7 innings. It might end in 5 innings. Some schools don't have enough kids. Some do, but some don't. Some principals are actually walking the halls trying to get kids to play. And that can be a dangerous thing. If a kid doesn't want to play, then feels obligated to play. So, I mean, there's a host of things. And there are also, negative things people will throw out there as well, but I think, me personally, 'cause I'm a baseball guy, I see the positives in this. One thing I also said to the committee was, you get to high school and you got to compete in the conferences we compete in, and when you try to move on and you have to play the teams in Knoxville, one thing we've always lacked at our high schools is pitchers only. And that means this kid, he really doesn't do anything else but pitch. And they're able, and the kids are fine with that. Yeah, they can throw the ball, but they may not be able to hit or field or anything like that, or they can at least concentrate on the one thing they enjoy doing is pitching. And when you get to the playing the Knoxvilles, the Knox Farragut's, and teams like that, you need pitchers only. That means that kid may go in there and throw one inning, he may go throw one batter, but you know, you may end up having 20 kids on your baseball team, and 8 of them are pitcher onlys, and you need that to successfully move on. So there is ways for kids to actually take part that normally wouldn't, because they think they have to play, but they could be a pitcher only, or you need pinch runners. And I mean, it's a way to grow the game and help these kids find their niche as well. So those are just a few positives I see.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The biggest issue that I have with it, and the thing that I've always liked about the K-8 program compared to humongous middle school programs, is the number of opportunities that our children have to participate. And when you merge all the sports, you're turning it into a middle school type scenario, and you're decreasing the opportunity for a lot of our children to participate in a baseball program or something else. That's what I don't like about it. I understand everything that you just said, but students is what we do here. Education, playing sports, playing baseball, basketball, football, soccer. Every time we merge some of these teams into 2 from across our 10 elementary schools, we've lost a bunch of slots for these kids to play in. And that just, I'm sorry, it breaks my heart for some of these little kids that want to play, that aren't great players. They're never going to be great players, but they want to participate. Those are the kids that I root for. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Can I just respond to that? And I don't want this to get into a necessarily discussion
Well,
of.
it's not really the time for the discussion.
Exactly.
I just gave my opinion, that's all. It was not an argument,
And-
not an
No,
argument.
I'm just gonna answer what you said there. It's actually gonna, if you had a baseball team at every school on the south side and every school on the north side, there'd be 5 on each side.
That's what we got now.
That's what we get, if you had enough kids. Some of the schools do not have kids and already are joining in. So, if you went to this, I'm not saying we are, but if it went to this, you're looking at 2 JV teams and 2 varsity teams potentially on each side. So that's 4 teams on each side. That gives your JVs, your 6th and your 7th graders to be on the JV. And the varsity would be a mix of 7th and 8th graders. So you're really not losing any teams, because 1, you don't have enough South Central right now that's having to combine. Fall Branch is having to combine. So you're already down to 4 there. And this is actually going to help 6th graders, because when you become a 6th grader, you're going from Little League, which is 60-foot base pass, to 90-foot base pass, 46-foot mound to a 60-foot mound. It's a huge step up, and that helps those 6th graders, instead of competing against a kid in 8th grade at those new dimensions. And you think it's not a big deal? Let me tell you something, it's a big deal when those kids jump up to those dimensions. And so to be able to play is still there. Still there, because the ADs looked at the numbers. And another thing, if you'll scroll through your, what was the committee meeting notes, is, I think it was Mr. compiled a list of what the other surrounding schools are doing, and their 8th grade classes. Their 8th grade classes have more students than we do at some of our middle schools. And so that's what they're competing against. Because that's what those middle schools are starting to look at. I mean,
Thanks,
I'm sorry, I had another
What?
question.
Maybe Phil.
Does a school like Fall Branch, which has 200 or 230, play against like Boones Creek or Ridgeview?
They got enough for a team?
but they don't, they need
They
to
do have
combine
a number,
them,
don't
do they?
Yep.
They need to
The
combine
South
them.
Central and Lamar is the only one that combined this year.
So if they don't, okay.
If anybody wasn't here, I'd be at the next meeting, but I would read, they really did a good job. There's a ton of information in these notes right here. It shows all the schools that we was playing. I think it was on page 8, there was eight middle schools that are no longer exist. So that was one of their concerns as well, is who we gonna play. So they had some pretty, I'm not saying I'm for or against it, because I'm still looking, but they had a lot of really good information.
Fall Branch, I didn't think they had.
Basketball did.
Mr. Merriman said he's been going through the halls trying to get kids to play.
Say that.
And that's always to me, a risky thing to do. But, and that's like I said, I mean, the principals were there, all principals were on board for this. They did their support except for one. But it's like I said, nothing was decided here. We're not trying to rush anything. It's open for discussion. I'm not saying next month's gonna have anything happen, but it's being discussed, and it's there for you to come and voice your opinion.
Bill?
The other complaint that I've had from some folks is that the scheduling and the logistics of one school's out 30, 45 minutes before another is, and there is some differences in our elementary school schedules. I don't have it in front of me, but the logistics of getting the kids where they need to be. Sometimes if a kid's got to wait an hour to go somewhere, he's killed a whole hour. So it's a scheduling issue on these kids too, to get them around to where they need to be. And I don't bring that up for argument, simply a point. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Glenn?
I'd just like to say, and I think, I would like to see us get with the coaches if we can. I know that meeting's probably not gonna work for them because they're practicing. I'd like for Dr. Flannery or you and Todd to work together and try to see one night where we can bring the coaches in and hear their concerns. We got a lot of first-year coaches, so we may not have a whole lot to share. They may not share a whole lot.
Well, I remember my first year playing softball at Ridgeview. My coaches had never touched a softball or baseball in their life, so like we had my Little League coaches come in, and like we had Tanya Jenkins, her daughter played with me, and she coaches at Boone, so that was a good thing, and we actually were back-to-back state champs. And then I remember in track and in like soccer, there were 3 kids from Fall Branch that had to come and play with us and run with us. And there's something about like the coaching and the big difference, big jump from like middle school to high school. Like in volleyball, that was the sport that I continued on in. It was completely different. Like the way they played in middle school was middle schoolish. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's so much more complicated, and being able to would have like started out in that like as a younger age and like have better opportunities to play like a bigger team maybe, it would have helped a lot. And
It basically falls to coaching.
yeah, the whole first year of Boone was
Coach.
relearning the sport.
Okay.
So we have no recommendations.
Okay. Let's see. Who's next?
Good review.
Bid review, okay. My screen went black.
We didn't have a meeting due to a quorum, but Dr. Adams, I believe, you had a couple.
Do you have something that we need to bid on, or Brad, or somebody?
Yeah, I can defer to Mr. Patrick if you rather, Mr. Patrick, or I'll do it, however you want to do it. That look, I'll do it.
I'll answer some questions, go ahead.
He might have answered some questions. We bid 2 items. We bid the fence at Grandview, and then we bid propane for the entire school system, including the fueling station at the bus garage for the propane buses. The easy one was the fencing. We had a low bid of McCall Fencing, and I believe Jennifer's pulling it up. Can we do the other one? That's the propane. Can we do the fencing?
That's all I showed.
Okay. Give me 1 second, it's on my drive.
Page 2.
Is it on page 2? No? Okay. Sorry. All right, well, McCall Fencing came in at the low bid of $15,125.
Is that the only bid we had?
No, Allstate Fencing came in at $16,922, and J&S Fencing came in at $17,796. Our recommendation would be to take the low bid on that. We've done business with McCall in the past. They do good work, and they are the low bid.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
I have a second?
Second.
Wait,
Okay.
motion is to award bid to,
McCall Fencing.
Low bid, McCall.
second,
Jason Day seconded. Any more discussion? Call for vote. I did. Why? Vote. I done voted. It won't take my vote. Done it 3 times. It's being transmitted. Vote yes. I hope not. Old age.
just cut it off and work.
Heckled from behind you.
You get mine, Jim?
I'm sure it's all.
What have you done?
It's a process.
Still spinning.
Yeah, still $67 million.
You got mine? It's still spinning up on the river.
It's me, it ain't.
Mine did this when we played, when we was round and they had to restart the
Okay, let's move on. Go on to propane. Can we go to propane?
We can see it late.
Brandon said restart.
Yeah.
We took a recess. Yeah, it looks like here.
Say that again. Oh, Mr. Urban too?
It
Did you refresh the page?
Remember Edward that his is voted
Can you
manually?
do, Jen, are you able to do it manually?
No, just what I said, I tried.
What they tell me to do, unplug it and plug it back in.
I have to turn it off, turn it back on, or close the program off, log out.
Spectrum tells me.
What's the channel?
That's called troubleshooting.
I mean, what's the website? Would you say to do www.wcd?
It's like a gate. We're temporarily out there.
Yeah, like when you bring that movie up to watch it, it says, you know,
Just know it's your fault.
I just know it's my fault. Well, the bad thing is, the fencing was the easy bit.
Actually, didn't get a chance to just try
Very comes to the
I told him to look back on
Mr. Urban, could we take a break right now?
Yeah, we'll have a 5-minute break.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
who's taking that?
Chad.
All right, so now we'll look at the propane bids. Oh, I was looking Lake and left, okay. This was a little more complicated in that what we're trying to do is bid out propane for the schools, but also the propane for the bus garage. And one of the big components of the bus garage was having the actual propane fuel tank and the fueling mechanism there. And so when we had the different companies bidding, the price per gallon bid, the dealer cost plus the fixed markup, the low bid on that actually was Holston Gas at $1.22. But when we looked at them in terms of providing us with the cost of getting the tank at the bus garage, they basically didn't bid that. They said to be determined. I think if you look on page 2 of that document, it literally says that they would pump and cabinet to be determined after award of the bid. So we don't know what that price would be.
Well, it shouldn't.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Merritt.
Go ahead, Mary, you can get finished.
Okay, all right. Then the third gas company, Marsh, and the fourth gas company, Blossman, they didn't really bid any dealer cost plus the fixed. They went straight to the fixed cost, but then Marsh wanted to charge us $10,437 to buy the tank. And then Blossman wanted to charge us $1,333 a year to lease the tank, but they would want to keep it on a 3-year contract. So getting back to the actual what we actually asked for, only the AmeriGas Heritage Propane met all the specifications we put out there. Their total bid per gallon delivered would be $1.28.9, so basically $1.29. But the tank lease and hookup they bid as zero, so they're going to provide that at their cost. And so we're not paying anything for any tank. We're not renting any tank. So our recommendation would be to go with the Heritage Propane, simply for the fact that while their price per gallon may not be the lowest that we're getting, they're not charging us any money whatsoever for the actual tank at the bus garage. Yes, sir.
So if the way I understand this, the bid 2, that's a fixed price for the entire year?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas bid 1 is whatever their current dealer cost is today, and what you're really bidding is just their markup?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the reason we call it a fixed markup. That'll be the markup throughout the year.
Okay.
Of course, the price will change because of what they pay for it.
And it's important also to note that part of what Heritage is asking is that if we do go with them, that they have an opportunity that we look at them again for the next 2 years in a row, so it'd be a total of 3 years. While the contract is year to year, they're asking that they be considered for year 2 and year 3.
Okay, but going back to bid 1, so the dealer cost plus the fixed markup, both AmeriGas and Holston Gas would install a tank and hook it up for us at no cost, right? That's why there's a 0 in that column.
Those are the tanks that are already in place at the school sites.
Okay. So is that different than the last column in bid 2?
Exactly. That's where we added in the tank lease and hookup for what would be going on at the bus garage. Okay, and the so 0 that you see there for Holston, you have to look at the second page, because that's where they said it's to be the tank and the cabinet itself to be determined. Well, we can't enter into a bid with them, a contract with them, not knowing what they're going to charge us for the actual tank.
Who's our contract with today?
Marsh.
For the schools?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we own those tanks?
Do we own those tanks? No, sir.
They put them there for our use without charging us anything?
Yes. And normally what's happened, and let's exclude the bus garage in that scenario, if we just had the school buildings themselves, if we changed contractors, usually those companies get together and they'll measure the gas that's in the tanks, the other company will buy it and the tank. So they don't start moving tanks out all the time. And that's usually what happens. That's typical what happens, but they do have the right to go in and get their tank, but they have to leave us our fuel if there's any left in it.
So if world economy continues the direction it's heading in fossil fuel costs go down like they're doing, we're locked. I mean, to me, that makes the 40 cents a lot more attractive. Because I really think over this next year, we'll see a decline in gas prices. And so we don't get that benefit if we've got a fixed cost per gallon. Personally, I like the fixed market.
Yeah, and let me say there's a couple ways to look at that. And I don't see it happening, but if perchance suddenly there wasn't propane readily available, if the board chooses with Heritage, AmeriGas Heritage, if you enter and lock this in by March 12th, they will buy the predetermined gallons of propane, and they will set in their tanks, and they'll be there for our use when we need them throughout the year. But that's, if that could be a concern, that's just more information for you.
Are they buying it on the futures, or are they buying current stock?
You'll have to buy that current stock right now, and that's so that he'll have it.
Well, beforehand, we was paying for fuel every month at a different price. In the wintertime, it'd go up. Now, when we started bidding it out, we bid it on a contract for a whole year, fixed rate.
Did y'all ever look to see how you did back against the market?
It broke even there, I think, when Mr. Irvin first made that suggestion. I think we came in cheaper with a fixed price, locked in for the year.
But I mean, if we look at it in the last 2 years, probably not.
It hasn't been much different.
Okay, just a question.
Some companies, don't they, if the price keeps coming down, don't they lower their price? I thought they lowered their price.
No, not if we select their fixed price. No, they will not lower their price.
Because they're buying it up front for us, and if something ever happened, there's a shortage, we've got ours.
Right.
'Cause they've
And if
already
it goes
purchased
up,
it.
if their price goes up, if they buy it, then they can't charge us anymore. With the fixed markup, of course, that's fluctuates depending on economy and availability.
If it goes down, good for them. If it goes up, good for us.
But, let me add another piece of information on the AmeriGas, who, as Dr. Adams said, would be furnishing the fueling station and that tank free of charge. Their advice and their in their professional opinion, since that is going to be fueling buses, which we do not have an accurate count on how many gallons we'll use. We're trying to make an estimate on, I think, the 9,000 gallons of what we would use just based on industry miles per gallon on propane versus diesel. They suggest we go with the fixed markup on that propane, and at least get a contract into it, and let's see what the actual is, and then that'll give you, as a board, a better understanding of the next contract. We might want to go fixed on all of it, and we may want to go fixed markup on all of it.
If we run out of what we, like you said, 9,000 gallons, I think, if we run out, then we would buy that, any additional at that current rate.
Correct. And you're not locked in. Let's say we use 25,000 gallons, and if we used only 20,000, you don't have to pay them for 25,000. Pay for what you use.
Well, don't that go the other way too? That if we go over the 25,000, do we have to give them a certain number? How many gallons we're going to use? I didn't think so.
We try to give them an estimate, and we can do that with our
But we
with our
don't know
schools
about
that
the
have
buses.
the tanks, because we've got we got data on that, to know what we use.
So, if I may ask, what is your all's recommendation at this point?
To take the AmeriGas Heritage Propane.
For bid one or bid two?
Well, it's all together, but,
Okay.
but to go with them.
Yeah, we would go with them and put our buses on the fixed markup and the, schools tanks on the locked-in fixed price. They'll furnish.
Of $1.28.9.
Correct.
Okay. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
I have a second.
Okay.
Yeah, let me add now, that the company, in talking with the representative to get clear understanding of what their bid is, they would like for you as a board to, say, for lack of a better term, in your motion to, with a possible renewal another year. And he said, no, that's not saying that we're getting a 3-year contract, we just would like that the board would consider us again, so that.
Without bidding back out?
I mean, that's up to you. You know,
That's what they're
we
asking
can't
about?
stop. No, not necessarily, because he said, now, if we're not making the cut by the end of the first year, or the end of the second year, if you happen to renew, well, you can cancel the contract, no penalty, and rebid everything, or we can rebid it anyway, and also be sure that they are, I would assume, offered a chance to bid, and they would be, of course.
Well, and then that's I guess my point, they can always bid.
They can, but I think they want the actual opportunity to renew without a bid.
Well, this is the first year we've been going with them anyway, right?
You know,
always
we've
went with
changed
the other.
propane.
Whoever's the cheapest to see we've been
changed.
with.
No, that's not necessarily true, I don't think. But, we have
We
extended.
did pray for you.
We have extended, I think we've extended contracts sometimes for, each year, for some vendors for 2 or 3 years.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like
It's
to
entirely up to you.
restate my motion. I move that we go with AmeriGas propane on the fixed price of $1.28.9, and then at the end of the 1-year program, we give them serious consideration for renewal.
Do I have a second?
Well, no. I mean, no disrespect, but.
Well, we can't discuss it without a second,
okay.
so it can die without a second.
Your motion dies.
My motion is based on their recommendation.
Mr. Gaines.
I make a motion that we use AmeriGas Heritage propane at the $1.28 or $1.289.
For this year?
Yeah, this year, yes.
Okay. Do I have a second?
It died.
It died. That motion died. Do I have a second on Mr. Gainer's
Can you
motion?
repeat that, please?
To use the AmeriGas Heritage propane, total bid per gallon delivered $1.28.9.
Okay. I'll second that, but I got a question.
All right,
Mr. Chairman.
discussion.
I thought though that we have to do the fixed markup on the school buses at the.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about.
He said, I would recommend that. That's what he said, so.
Okay,
you
so
all
we
have
can
the
go
choice
with
to
the
do what
one-
you wanna do.
We can go with the 1.289. That was, okay. I thought we had to do both.
Why would
Bid one,
he
bid two.
want you to go with the fixed markup on the school buses?
Because we don't have real accurate estimates of what we'll use in propane on school buses.
All right, can we say that we're gonna use 30,000 gallons instead of
Well-
25 or whatever?
We can say we're gonna use 500,000 gallons if you want to, Mr. Chairman, but I think,
All right,
I think we need to be,
I want that price locked in.
But
well, then just vote it that way. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't have an explanation for you, I'm sorry.
if you're using the markup for the buses, okay? All right. that puts you at $1.38.6 per gallon. Why would you not want it to be 1.28? Is he expecting the cost per gallon to go down? I mean, I don't understand that.
That's what I'd like to say.
Cheaper in the summertime.
I can't really justify his reasoning except for that we don't have the data to back up whatever gallons we estimated. Although we,
That's what we're doing, we're buying.
Yeah, Philip, do we give them a minimum quantity that we're going to buy from them at $1, at 1.289?
we give our best estimate on the minimum we use, yes, sir.
And if we go over that, we still get the 1.289?
Yes.
If we go under that, we got 1.289. Well, I don't know what the buses make, I don't know why the buses make.
We gave them a best estimate, that's what they recommended. If the board wants to choose the fixed price, that's what I would do as a board.
Is that your motion, Mr. Ganger?
That's the motion I made.
Fixed price?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're going to install the tank at the bus garage?
Yes, sir. I'll have to prepare a pad and furnish it with electricity, but that's typical.
And I have a second. Any more discussion? Please vote now. Motion passes. Next. Is that all you have, Jared?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Facilities Committee report. Mr. Ganger, or Mr. Day, I'm sorry.
I assume everybody got the report in your Dropbox. I move for.
Make a motion that we accept the report.
Yes, sir.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor of the report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, Mr. Day.
Trying to make sure I got all of it here. It says Mr. Day presented the Facilities Committee report and moved for approval of pass voice vote. Mr. Day moved for approval of the committee's recommendation that a new proposal from Energy Systems Group would not be accepted. The board will review the existing proposal from Energy Group System. Was recommendation from that committee.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I'm confused.
That's why I was having trouble. I can't.
The way I understand it, it was what they submitted for David High School. Mr. Patrick helped me through this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, you want me to throw that, let me go?
Yeah.
What we discussed, I found my report now. What we discussed was Energy Systems Group has already done all that work.
Okay.
So they already have a leg up on everybody else anyway. So we suggest to the board that we just take what they've already done and let the other three groups go out there and do their due diligence, and then they can report, because we already have, which Russ can itemize it, but he's already done it, in other words.
Is he gonna come back and?
Well, yeah, we didn't say he couldn't, we was just recommending that we've already got his work, so there's
Okay.
really no need for him to go do anything else, just bring us back.
I understand that. Okay.
We didn't discuss that. I don't think that was our agenda to not let him present it, just that they didn't go start all over again.
Okay. Because we voted downstairs to allow them back into discussions.
Yeah. And I was a little confused about that, but I wasn't here, so.
So this doesn't prevent that, this just has them.
No, we're not.
Well, of course, they're not gonna go do that intensive of it again, so.
I don't know, we just.
So we are communicating with them that we want each of the companies to look at the Boones Creek issue, Daniel Boone, I'll say it right in a minute, Daniel Boone issue only, and do a comparison from that direction.
Which we assume they already have, so.
You already had that conversation
With who?
all four groups?
No, I've just been in casual conversation, but after you all vote tonight, that's when you put it in kickoff mode.
And that's something, I guess, Mr. Patrick, do we need to discuss, I mean, I don't know what y'all talked about the meeting while I was out of town, is everyone's gonna look at Daniel Boone High School. Does everybody understand that?
Is my second document on there, my facilities update report?
Yes, scroll down.
What's that? Bottom page 2.
You go to the bottom of that page. Over the outline of,
I'm having trouble finding it.
Right there.
Can we read it?
You'll see it, but yes, go right ahead.
Each contractor, along with 30 engineers, will be provided access to Daniel Boone High School. Technicians from the maintenance department will accompany them on their visit to answer questions. I expect this visit will be for 2 or 3 days for each company. My expectations will be for each contractor's proposal to give the school system the most energy savings along with the most in equipment. Upgrades funded entirely with the energy savings realized from these upgrades.
And all of the systems have agreed not, but like you said, just in conversation, have agreed to that.
He's
We
gonna
really are not concerned about what they agree with.
Yeah, well, I mean.
They need to follow the specifications that this school board says.
Okay.
And these are my recommended specifications.
Right. And
Which
they
are
may
very
or may
broad, I
not-
understand that,
And they may or may not, but they know that's what we're gonna make our decision on.
yes, ma'am.
Well,
Here's what I don't understand. On a motion by Mr. Ganger, seconded by Mr. Irvin, the committee approved a new proposal from Energy Savings Group would not be accepted. That's what I don't understand. When we voted downstairs to bring them back into the discussions, along with the other 3 groups. So why would we say we will not accept anything from them when we voted downstairs to bring them back into the discussion?
well, we
Keyword
also.
being new. They don't, keyword being new, they don't have to meet with Mr. Patrick out at Boone and redo what they've already done. They will use what they've already done. You know, they went through every school and done something, so they'll use what they did.
But this, he uses the word will not be accepted.
New, the word new is in there.
Mr.
Ain't
McLean.
new.
Okay.
So here's the situation. This board also voted to not do business with Energy Management Systems.
You didn't vote that. You voted to stop discussions.
Okay.
That's not to not do business.
So we stopped discussions to move forward with new groups, which we did.
Okay.
So what we're saying is, they've already done the work. We're not giving them a chance to go back out there and give us a better number than they gave us the first time.
Okay.
That's all we're trying to
But
do.
do we have a number from them, that's just what these other 3 groups are gonna look at?
Well,
That's my concern.
Okay, so we talked about that. Here's what we come up with, and we hope this is the best. Give them the opportunity, as Mr. Patrick explained, mechanical, kitchen,
Mechanical, plumbing, and electrical.
from all 4 groups.
Okay.
But whatever they come up with, if Energy Group says we're gonna replace every light in the school, and Johnson Control says, well, we're gonna do half of them, then that's up to them, whatever they bring back. Because we don't have specifications for them to bid by. So really, the way Mr. Patrick put it, that's probably the best way to do it. Let each one of them say, here's what we're gonna do. We don't care what they do, that's up to them. Then we'll look at the best one and pick.
Turn them loose on all the other buildings.
Well, that's a whole different, yeah, that was where I didn't agree. Well, no, that's not what we said. But
That's what it sounded like.
Well, no, we
That's
gonna
what
do
it
that.
sounds like.
But we don't have a set specifications. I mean,
If I may.
yes, please.
In dealing with folks like this, which is a professional service, just like an architect is, if you recall when, and I think Mr. McLean, you were there, and maybe one or two more, when we had, who was it, Ken Ross, Tony Street, Red Chair, something, and some other group, we just told them we wanted a school building. You know, what would you do, and how would you encompass it, and where would you put it in the county because of, based on population density and live birth rates and so forth and so on. Well, that's sort of what we're dealing with here. We don't know exactly what will give us the best deal down there, so we're going to ask them to give us the best value for our dollar on the energy saved and the most upgrades we can get out of Daniel Boone High School. And when I say the most energy we can save, I want to see, and they're each getting 12 months worth of utility bills. And then I want to see what their estimates are going to be and what they're going to guarantee from those energy savings and upgrades. Now, based on that, which Daniel Boone is one of our largest needs for upgrades, that'll give you folks some kind of idea and the most information I can give you about who would be the best group to go add other schools to. You may say, well, let's just do the high schools right now. Okay? And then you may say, well, let's do the two high schools, and let's do a couple of our oldest elementary and middle schools that need the most upgrades. Just any way you all want to cut it. Will the other companies waive their engineering fees when they get to that point? I don't know. It'll be something we'll talk about. It may be something they put in their presentation.
How long ago, was it a year ago that Energy Systems did theirs, or?
They started about a year ago.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
a little over a year ago. But we worked with those
Well,
folks.
if they wanted the option to come in and update something, are we not gonna allow that?
That's
Since it's
entirely up
been
to the
that
school
long
board. I mean,
ago.
I'm gonna take my direction from you folks.
Can I say something? So here's kind of the thing. We started out, when and I think I made the motion, when we talked about bringing in 3 new systems to discuss this whole matter, right? I thought we was bringing in 3 new systems to pick one. Now we've opened up another whole deal, and it's gonna keep going, because like, you're right, I agree with you. I'm not, just because somebody's low on Daniel Boone don't mean they're gonna be low on every other school. So I get that, but the problem is.
Sounds like what you're trying to do there.
Well, no, what I'm trying to do is, we didn't do business with Russ for a reason. I don't know why we voted to bring them back into the ballgame. If we liked them, we should have just went with them. But they was not, what they said wasn't true. So what we're saying is, with these new groups, we've made it very clear, we're not paying nothing. It has to totally pay for itself, which Energy Systems Group did not do. So now we're dealing with, we gotta go out here at Daniel Boone, we're gonna get some prices, and then we're gonna have to make a decision. When one group comes in cheaper, then we're gonna have to say, well, what are they gonna do to us on the rest of the school system? And we're never gonna know, because we can't hire all 4 of them to find out. So we've really put ourselves in a pretty bad position, in my opinion.
Well, I would only give you the same speech that I gave downstairs. And that's when I look at that everything was on ESG's list to be updated, corrected, replaced, whatever was gonna happen to it. And it was gonna cost us, based on their estimates, that they guaranteed, $50,000 a year for 20 years, that's $1 million. $50,000 a year for 20 years is $1 million. And we're within 3 years of having this $2.6 million loan paid back to the county. I think we just made payment number 7. So 3 more payments, and then in the next 4 years, we could have that $1 million paid with those funds that aren't going anywhere in 3 years unless we decide to do something with it. And I look at all the upgrades we could have in every one of our buildings. the things that I've seen across this big U-shaped table up here through the years, that's a bargain. That's a bargain in my mind because of what a lot of these things cost. And then I look at the benefit, for our students. Better lighting, better air, better heat, the whole system. And then I look at, we haven't even factored in how much less maintenance issues it's going to cost. We get all these things updated. Philip's not going to have 2 or 3 guys running around doing nothing but changing light bulbs all the time. We're not going to have that. We get all these LED lights put in. And there's just, to me, of all the years that I've been here, all the experience that I've been through, the benefit of what they were going to do for us is worth far more than this $50,000 a year that he guaranteed would be.
Okay. Well, and two, though, you said we got 3 years to pay before we get that paid off. So there's no use to be in a hurry to try to see what these other companies can do to see where we're at. I mean, we're up here, if we get hung with $1 million a year, and that's a lot of teachers. I mean, that's a lot of positions, a lot of different things we could do with $1 million a year.
Where you getting $1 million a year from?
That's what you just said.
$1 million over 20 years, $50,000 a year.
Where did you get 50,000 though?
Because his last presentation to us was within $1 million total 20-year program.
The 23 million was as low as he ever got. And we didn't even have the transparency to know what we were getting for 23 million.
Well,
that's the reason.
Wasn't there $200,000 and $300,000 a year after about 3 years that we had to pay?
Yeah.
I think that was what kind of killed the deal.
Well, the point being, we went into this to be neutral at worst case, not paying money. And he knew that, and he did not provide that.
But the main thing is we want to be transparent with what we're getting. If we just get, hey, we're getting new lights, we're getting plumbing fixtures, I mean, all that sounds great. But if they replace every other toilet with one, well, we ain't coming out ahead. And we didn't have the transparency, in my opinion. So I think we're doing a good thing by getting these 4 in here to at least see what they can do for us. I mean,
Well, I agree, but I still think that the energy systems should have an opportunity to go in and make, and do update to their presentation.
Well, we've already got.
That's that is, I mean, does your all's recommendation preclude energy systems asking for updated information from Mr. Patrick?
Yeah, we do not want them to, we do not think they have any, I mean, they've already done it. According to them, very thorough, the best they can give us.
Yeah,
I don't want to give them the opportunity to go back and.
I'm going to, Jason, I'm going to have to go back to Philip. I mean, at the meeting where we asked those 3 new guys to come in and give us their shot, I mean, give us their recommendation, we included, we did not exclude ESG. In fact, I think we go back and look at the minutes, but I thought that we actually asked for ESG to be included in that mix. So in fairness, I do think that you need to let them, if they need to update their information. Now, what this board does with those 4 proposals, you know, ESG may say, we're going to save you $50,000 a year on upgrades there, okay, net savings over cost. The other guys may say, we're going to save you 10 a year. And that says this board can't go with the guys that are saying 10 because you don't really have a lot of confidence in that 50. But, you know, I think where we are at this point.
Do you not think ESG, I mean, do you not think is it fair that ESG spend a year working on the whole system and then you're gonna let them come back and let them, you see where I'm going?
Possibly change numbers we never got to see anyway.
I mean, they got all the data.
Well, they didn't until
we
y'all voted them back in the game. I mean, that's the thing, they should have never, when you mark them off list, you should never add them back. Because now, again, we've started another problem that we gotta deal with. I mean, we're good at it.
But if it's been over a year, they have a right to be able to update. They don't have to do it as intensive study as the other groups.
They've already got all the information.
They may need
They spent a year getting information.
Mr. Hammonds.
I'd like clarification. It's almost, I understand letting them be a part of the conversation, But are you saying you're gonna allow them to lower their prices, almost like we're allowing the company to rebid? I mean,
That's exactly what they're saying, I think.
Because I'm, no disrespect to anybody, I've not liked this process. I mean, the one company comes and does all the work, presents, and then we invite 3 companies in that can access that, can see their numbers, see what they presented.
They can't see that.
Or they can't, I thought that was spelled correctly. But then you are allowing the company, and again, I'm not trying to exclude them from the conversation, but we're allowing them to say, okay, we got these 3 companies come in, now give us your best deal. And I got a problem with that.
And what Chad said, we didn't know what the deal was to begin with, because we couldn't get any clarification.
I want it to be fair this way, and open. And it's, we've never been out of company before and then say, okay, well, we're gonna take 3 more bids and then allow that first company that gave us a high bid come back. And I don't wanna set that precedent. I'm all for them being included in the conversation. If they wanna pull out Boone and use those numbers to compare, I don't have a problem with that either. But
that's what we're asking for.
Do you think that change in a year though? I mean, the price of anything, everything stays the same?
Well, the thing is, they know what needs to be changed. They can adjust their price, because we don't know what their price was. If lights went up or down, they know how many they already need better than anybody else is gonna know in 2 or 3 days' time.
So you're just saying they can have that right to adjust?
Yeah,
You just don't
we don't
want
know
them-
what their price was anyway.
I'm just gonna say, I understand, okay? I understand that his first presentation, he talked about working up a program that was, budget neutral, which meant that our savings would pay the bill. And it's my belief that when he got into our buildings and saw the shape that some of them were in, some of them were in good shape, some of them are old too, okay? Some of them's got old systems that probably should have been replaced 4 or 5 years ago. And I think that's where we got out of balance on the zero budget issue. And that's just my simple belief, okay? That's where the pricing got out of control a little bit, and then he came back 2 or 3 times. And it's my understanding that the last presentation he made, it wasn't 23 million. He brought it way down. He took the kitchen stuff back out, and I don't know what else came back out, but it was still down to the point that our savings would pay the bill within $50,000 a year of the total program. To me, the way I visioned that was that we're getting all these upgrades: heating, cooling, electric, water savings, light savings, and all these other things, and the maximum it would cost us is $50,000 a year, which is a total of $1 million over 20 years. And the benefit far exceeds $1 million over 20 years. We talked here one night about how much savings is being created with the new school and the LED lights all over the place compared to the old schools. Brad, was it 6, 7, 8,000 a month we're already realizing with the new school compared to the 2 old schools? And it's more square footage than the old 2 put together, if I remember correctly.
Without looking at revisiting those numbers, it was something to that.
Somewhere in that ballpark. So, just that one location, if it's 5,000 a year, that's 60,000 a year.
Yeah, I don't remember those numbers. I just remember, and you're really good at them, but I was pretty sure we said after about the first, for whatever reason, y'all said the first couple of years it was, Mitch, do you remember, it was hardly nothing, and then the 3rd and 4th and 5th year it might be like $200,000. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, and Brad ran those numbers.
And that's why I voted against it to begin with, because it wasn't 50, it was like 200,000 or 300,000 for a period of years.
Right.
Am I right?
It was a couple $100,000 in those first few years.
Yeah,
a year.
The $1 million was the best case scenario
Right.
presented, and that was a 20-year average. But there's certainly, like the first 5 years, we were saving money. But then come year 6, it jumped up there to what you're saying,
Yeah.
like 200 and some thousand, and then it just teetered down. So,
Yeah.
so the 50 was a 20-year average.
Okay.
The average of 20 years.
Okay.
I'm
No,
gonna
that's
see
what
if I
you're
can
saying.
access
Okay.
that on my
Yeah.
computer here.
Okay. Well, anyway,
So would you
Let's
give us
vote.
an update again? So you're wanting them to come and, the other three to get the opportunity. We're gonna vote on that.
We feel like that, let me start over and be clear. We feel like ESG has had every opportunity in the world and spent more time than anybody on Daniel Boone High School. The other three groups only get possibly 3 days. We don't feel like there's any reason, since we brought ESG back, to go in there and do any more due diligence. Let them take the information they already have. They can adjust their prices, because we never knew their prices. Let's just don't give them a chance to go back in there and do more work. It's not fair to the other three, which we really,
okay, so
you know,
you're saying they can adjust their numbers?
we don't know what their numbers are.
Well, okay.
Sure they can, they can do anything they
Well,
want.
that's
They can
fine.
add work to it if they want to. We just don't want to give them the opportunity to go back in there and get ahead of the other three groups, because really we're wasting the other three groups' time altogether by letting them bid it anyway.
Are you giving them a certain amount of time? 30
Mr.
days,
Patrick's handling
60
that,
days?
I don't.
I'm sorry.
I think it was, what, you said 2 or 3 days,
I
Mr.
figure it'll
Ford?
take 2 to 3 days.
No, I
yeah.
mean to report back to us.
I actually,
No.
did we say we was gonna ask for the end of April? Todd mentioned that.
Yeah, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I don't know if that's possible, but didn't you mention maybe,
If we could
we
get
didn't
it
want
back
that
by the
drag it
end of
out
April.
all.
Yeah, I mean, we hope to get them in, last week of March, first week of April, and give them, and after they collect their data on what they want to do, they'll have to do their analyzation of it and decide what program best suits our needs. I don't look for that coming back. I mean, it's gonna be tough, but maybe in 3 weeks. So that, I'm afraid it's gonna probably bump us out for your all's consideration, maybe in the June meeting.
Oh, wow.
It could be, because, you know, you folks need to get this in your hands, not 3 days before a board meeting.
No.
You all need this 2 weeks before a board meeting.
Are you thinking that they need to come back and present, or just give us the numbers?
I think the facilities committee recommends that they receive the data first, they hash it around a little bit, and then, of course, bring it to the board.
And if they.
Am I correct in that?
Yeah,
Mr. Day?
we want broke down numbers for each item so that it's clear for everybody to understand.
You got anything, Dave?
Well, I did want to ask this. The one company, you know, they did everything collectively, all the schools collectively as a whole, to predict the savings. If we're just going to do one school at a time, we can't ask for a guarantee, because it's going to take all of them together counterbalancing on certain areas.
See, that opens up another whole thing, like Mr. McLean was saying. This is just the beginning. Once we get these numbers, then we gotta, but the bottom line is, like Todd said, it's gotta break even no matter who does it. That was the whole point of bringing in 3 new ones. We didn't want somebody we had to pay, we wanted somebody we didn't have to pay, so we brought in 3 new clients. And then we were supposed to decide who do we think was the best fit for this system. But now we've turned it into something totally different.
Because that's collectively is the only way we're really going to be able to pay for it.
But nobody's gonna do that for free.
True.
But no, I think if you make energy upgrades in one facility, it ought to, I mean, you're not gonna pay for that facility by making an energy upgrade in a 60-year-old building. I mean, that building, those facilities need to stand
Well,
alone.
they're going to save money. I don't doubt that if you do LED lighting. I'm just saying, as far as the company guaranteeing a certain savings, I think they're going to want the whole.
Basically, it'll come back to the board, looking at the scope of work they did at Daniel Boone High School, the information they provided us, you know, being transparent, and this board going with who they feel most comfortable with the data that they gave us. That's what it'll come down to.
And no disrespect to any company, it's just hard for me, for somebody to give us a 10-year guarantee when you're dealing with natural gas, you're dealing with, I mean, there's a lot of factors in there that can do it, but one company did say they paid Carter County or Elizabeth, and they wrote them a check when you, so, just to make sure.
Okay, I'm gonna call for vote.
I found that the analysis on ESG, if you want me to, I can upload it, y'all can look at it on the screen, but that's your all's decision, but I have found it.
Y'all wanna look at it?
Yes.
This is the one for whom?
Please.
No, there is
No,
nothing.
just the total.
Oh, the whole, oh.
The cash flow for the total.
Right, yeah, I have found it. It'll take me just maybe 30 seconds to upload this.
While he's doing that, let me make a statement. There's another element of this thing we're leaving out. The county's in an unusual situation where they're getting ready to obligate a whole lot of money over the next 25 to 38 years, I think, something like that. And all this, once we select a company, all this hinges on the county borrowing the bonds up front to pay for this. And then our savings, perhaps plus a little to pay it back. So there's another whole element that we have crossed in. There's been a little bit of discussion, but us making the decision doesn't finalize this process. Would you agree with that, Mr. Meredith?
No, sir.
Okay.
Because if we just do one facility, we may not need to borrow money to do
I'm
that.
not talking about just doing one.
But that's all we're looking at right now.
But if you just do one facility, somebody's gotta pay for it.
Right, we
Up
may
front.
be able to do that ourselves, and pay for that with our energy savings. May not require borrowing. Depends on how much fund balance Brad can generate.
Okay, that's the summary. There's two other documents that should be uploaded too. Right there. So are those two in front? Okay, so there's two more. Okay, so I've got three documents that's uploaded. That one is the summary of the analysis that we will show you. That's just an overall 20-year plan, and there was two different interest rates that we had from Raymond James over 20 years. And the $1,086,000 was the scenario that was being talked a minute ago. That was the best case scenario with the 2.19% rate, if I'm not mistaken, over a 20-year period, and that was if the inflation factor was at 2%, not at 1% over that 20 years. It's not, the 50,000 a year was approximate average.
But the best,
20 years.
best case.
That's correct. That's correct. So if we can go to the second document that I just uploaded, that gives kind of the detail behind the, it will be the one with the 2.19% rate, the one above that? Yes. And so this analysis, me and Mr. Meredith worked on this actually. So the 2%, inflation rate, basically the higher the inflation rate in this analysis, the better the bottom line looks. So scroll down just a little. There you'll see those numbers like the 1,186 or the 1,086,000 over a 20-year period. But go back up just slightly now. Those brackets on that far column under the 2% is your estimated cash flows. So cash flow at year one was a positive 99,000 because you do have some costs that are associated with that year one too. Because you won't be getting the full savings because it takes about 18 months to build this out, I believe is what they were saying. So you're not going to experience the full savings the first 12 months because the project won't be done. So, but if you focus on that 2% column down is the scenario that was discussed, and that was estimated cash flow. So like Mr. Day, you said in year 4 or 5,
The 220 is a positive cash flow, isn't it?
no, the brackets are negative.
That's a negative
That's when
cash
it goes
flow?
negative cash flow.
Wow. Okay. We didn't have any debt service. in the first
Exactly.
2 years.
See,
That's
the first 3 years, we're not paying the debt service. So
So we gotta come up to 220,000 year 4.
starting in year 4, and then you can see, that's the estimate, of course, and then the brackets represents what we would have to come up with each year thereafter. And you can see it peters down, so when you get back to year 18, it turns positive again. So,
I wanted to ask though, this is the one that included all of the updates to the kitchens and everything, or
no,
not?
the kitchens were pulled out.
13 million.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
13 million.
Right. And the 2% was the highest estimate. If it was 1% was the average, then you go to that column and that would be your estimated cash flows. So, I mean, these are estimates because You're not gonna predict exact, but they're estimates. This was with the more attractive interest rate. So if you go to the third document, which is the 2.45 rate, and this was per Raymond James, they said it would be somewhere they felt at the time we did this. Now, these rates could change now, but at the time this analysis was done, that was Raymond James's best guess to us, somewhere in that rate. So the cash flows change if you go to the 2.45% rate. I don't know if we can enlarge that any, but that's as big as this one gets. Okay. So anyway, you can see the best scenario in this example is a 1.5 million over 20 years that it would cost. So not cost, banking money those first 3 years, and banking money the 20th year, but only $1,200 in year 19. So you get the idea. So wherever that inflation factor would fall, at the 1%, you can go with those guys.
Okay,
Thank you, Brad.
put this in the form of a motion.
There is one.
There already are one, and we have a second.
Yes, we just need to vote.
We need a vote.
Could somebody read the motion back to us?
It's on
It's
the,
on your screen.
on the screen.
Hang on, we'll get back to it. Mr. Dudley,
So that doesn't get them out of it, but they just can't do it.
I still don't understand why this says Energy Systems Group will not be accepted.
A new proposal. That means that they just don't go back, Mr. Patrick does not have.
That's not what it says.
No,
That's
is
not what
what
it
it
says. It says you'll not accept anything from them, period.
Yep.
It says a new
It
proposal.
says clearly right there.
I
a
read
new
that, but to me,
From Energy
the question,
Systems
is, I think what Philip's asking and what I'm curious about is when Johnson Controls, Siemens, and what's that?
Wesco.
Wesco, when they make their proposals, will ESG be considered by this board using their old information
Broke down by
in
the
those
school.
4 proposals?
Broke
Will
down
there
just.
be 4 proposals for us to consider?
Yes.
Well, that's not the way it's
Yeah,
worded.
it really isn't worded that way,
No.
so,
How's it need to be worded?
um,
It's pretty simple. The board will review the existing proposal from Energy Systems Group. The board will review the existing proposal from Energy Systems Group. I don't know.
I'm not even sure why, why do you even have to do
Why do
anything
you
here?
have to?
Why are we
does
even
Six
doing
need
it?
a-
We don't want them to go back out there. They don't need to go back and participate. They just need to give us what they got.
Well, then what we need to do is tell Mr. Patrick that he's not to give Energy Systems Group any updated information or let them review the facility. You say that, and that's what you're saying.
That's in
That's-
essence what was said in the committee meeting, the
Right.
facilities committee meeting was said, hey, we just want this going to school, and that's the reason they said, well, you can't be apples to apples, because they may, it's not every one of them's gonna have a specific specs on what they need to do. They're gonna try to save us as much money as they can at a zero interest and have what they're gonna be able to get done. So
So how does all that relate to ESG? That's all I'm trying to.
they've already got they've got the fine tuning numbers to where they can turn that out.
Right, so
They've got a year invested. They get 3 days.
I get that. So are we just saying we don't want ESG to go back out there and ask for additional information? Or are we saying when we come down to this, to accept proposals, we're not gonna accept one from ESG?
That ain't what it says.
That's what it
That's
says.
the way it's
The
worded.
board
not.
will review the existing
Mr.
proposal.
Patrick, well, basically, if this goes through, we'll call all 4 of them. The 3 new ones, he will set up a time, a day, a period, whatever it takes for them 3 to go out to Daniel Boone and do their work, get their scope of work, get it ready, whatever. He will contact ESG, tell them the work that they had done out there previously, get put it in paper form, show us what you've done out there, and that will be presented to the committee, just like the new other 3 groups will.
Okay.
You guys know what a set of specifications are.
There is no specs.
That's exactly right. So whatever ESG did, how do you know they're not gonna go out there and do half that much?
Well,
We're
you
gonna
ain't-
find out.
Yeah, but you're not gonna.
Not the way you got this worded, you're not.
All four of them will not be the same. They can't be, because they're gonna be in there independently.
This is crazy, guys. The way you got this worded, it's crazy.
Well, it's
you added
amazing to
them.
us, we understand it, so maybe it's crazy what we see you're saying.
I'm old enough to be crazy, that's my excuse.
Vote on it.
Let me
Let's
ask you,
vote on
let me
it.
ask you.
Vote it down
Chris,
and you can
Let's
put it
vote on
however
it.
you want.
Do y'all have a problem letting let ESG go in there and do whatever they wanna do? We're gonna let them others go in there and do it, just let them do it. And
Let's
that's,
vote.
and
Let's
I
just,
vote.
agree, I agree.
just let them go do it.
We'll just
You're gonna
vote.
we'll tell Mr. Patrick to let 4 energy savings groups go do it. Period. If it's ESG, if it's whoever.
You got a motion and a second on the table, so we need to vote.
All right.
I've already voted.
I already voted.
We've been discussing when the vote's been out there.
I haven't voted yet.
Yeah, I do.
No, okay, Dale, go right ahead. Sorry, guys. The board will review the existing proposals from Energy Systems Group. That's the last words in the motion. So that means that we will take a proposal from them on Daniel Boone. Is that yet? Yes? Did you get that, Jennifer? Okay.
That's what it says, bro.
All right.
Motion passes.
Okay, that concludes my report.
Okay. What's next? Finance.
Wasted too much time.
Thanks, sir. We met yesterday, and it's been in your Dropbox, so I assume everybody's had a chance to read it. And I move for approval of the report, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second? Anybody second it?
Because we were up there again.
I second.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Give me a chance to read it, if you're sure. I didn't see the minutes, so, yeah.
Now, you want to more credit, I can't wait.
That was. I could. You see it?
What's partially pumping up?
We can, we can bring it up.
Oh, okay.
You ready for me to ask for, huh? Okay. All those in favor of the report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee moves for approval of the general fund financial statement for the month of January 2020. It may say 19 on there, but it's January 2020.
I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Vote, Jennifer. I don't know if it passed or not.
It passed.
Yes, it passed. That didn't come up on my screen. Okay, Mr. McLean,
Mhm.
motion passes.
All right, I'm waiting for it to come back up.
Yeah, right.
Committee moves for approval of the federal fund financial statement for the month of January 2020.
Second.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Okay, vote. Okay. Motion passes. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me let this other item come up here, please. What am I doing wrong? Just seeing part of the words, Jennifer. There's a new Tennessee Code annotated into effect requiring all employees of the system to have a background check every 5th or 6th year, which has not been the case in the past. And the committee moved for approval for the system to pay 100% of the cost, which is estimated to be about $9,500 a year. I believe that was doing a fourth, and a fourth.
I think it's a fifth.
Fifth.
Every 5 years.
I mean, either way, I think it was 260 employees a year was the estimate.
Right.
At about $9,500 a year, and for us to begin funding that this fiscal year, which means some of these would have to be done before June 30 this year. So the motion is, committee moves for approval for the school system to pay 100% of the cost of background checks for all employees at the rate of $9,500 per year.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
The discussion from the board that because this is a law and we need to be proactive and get this program started.
Mr. Hale, I've got a question for finance. So do we have that in our budget, in a budget line somewhere?
You know,
that
the
we can use?
capacity would be, is available, because we wouldn't realize the full 260 employees between now and June 30th. I doubt that, I would assume that we won't be able to get all 260 in 4 months. This would be 260 over a 12-month period, so it would only be a portion of that 95. We do have the capacity.
Okay, so we can get started on it now.
Any more discussion? Mr. Gaines?
How's that gonna be done? Are they paying it and then bringing the receipt back in, or are we? Is that how it's gonna be done?
That's what we discussed.
For us to,
That was how it was discussed in the committee.
we, through our website, there is a link to the TAP site where they can register to go take the fingerprint test and get the background check. They use what's called an ORI number. They take that number, it's our number, it associates them with Washington County Department of Education. The only way we can keep track of it so that anybody doesn't use our number is they go make the appointment through Heather, go get the fingerprints, get the background check, they pay for it, bring us the receipt, and we reimburse them. Because that helps us keep track of who's doing it, and instead of whomever sending us an invoice with 100 names on it with people maybe we don't know who they are, who are charging it to us. All they need is our ORI number, which is not readily available, but if you look, you can find it.
But you're looking at 1,200 extra checks for the system to write. There's gotta be a better way to do it than writing 1,200 checks.
It wouldn't be that many a year. I mean,
Right.
It would be spaced out over, there may be a better way, but it would be like approximately 260 spread out over 12 months, so.
Mr.
20,
Mayor.
25 a month.
And I may have asked this in the committee meeting, but, what'd you call it, ORI?
Right.
number? So when the employee has the background check completed, then the results of that are automatically fed back to the central office through the ORI.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
This is only for existing, this wouldn't be, the way I understand this, new employees coming in for employment. This would be somebody that's already in employment when we do the renewal.
Like if we hired somebody today,
Right.
they have to have a background check. In 5 years, they have to get another one. And this is in perpetuity.
Well, when they're hired now, they have to have one, don't they?
Right, but then in 5 years, they have to get another one.
How far back did that go? They had to have them?
They have to have one just to be hired?
Yes, new employees.
Since, 9/11.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
What happens if somebody does not do that?
They have
Is it
failed to
insubordination?
maintain their, conditions of employment, no work.
Do we need to relook at a policy, or you need to look at a procedure
For,
to cover that?
well,
Or is it already there?
It's already there in state policy. If you don't have a background check, you
Well,
can't.
how many days, if you've notified and say,
There's no grace period. If it lapses, you're on.
I mean, lapses, I guess I would just want to understand the process. When does it happen? Does it happen at the beginning of the school year and they got to the end of the school year to do it, or?
Depends on when they filed it in the first place. I mean, it's 5 years old, no matter how long they've had it. So our job is to get out in front of it, make sure they have plenty of time to get it done before it gets close.
I would say, we've had discussions how we'll do this. Somebody who's been with us for 3 years, in 2 more years, we'll send them something saying, hey, you gotta get a new background check.
They have to get it done before they have been employed for 5 years then, is that correct?
It's how the state law reads, is you have to have
Yeah,
one every
it
5
can't
years.
go past that. It's kind of like your driver's license. I mean, one day late, you're illegal.
So who are you gonna start with? The oldest employee that hadn't had one in 25 years?
That's kind of where we're thinking, the people that haven't had one in forever, or have never had one.
I've never had one.
I start with this room like
There will be a mass wave of retirements.
You gonna have board members for this?
this.
I know we had that discussion, I
No,
mean,
there's no rule and there's no policy board members need to do.
But isn't there a background check done on us when we're first elected?
No.
There should be. Okay.
No rule that says.
I got to speak for yourself. I don't know if I want to be background checked or not.
Call for the question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, vote. Ma'am, everybody vote.
Trying. Can I ask, why is it not coming up, or do we have to do something to make it come up?
There it is.
It does, it's at the bottom.
You have to
Big guy.
scroll down.
All the way down.
I do have to click on something. It don't just pop up.
You're standing
I don't click on nothing, it pops up over here.
You wanna
No,
follow?
I have
You
to
scroll
scroll
down.
down.
Yep.
Scroll, baby, scroll.
No, he's still in
You're running in a different world.
he's still in the minutes.
In the document, you have to switch up at the top.
Okay, motion carries. Mr. McLean?
That completes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Agenda item.
Thank you and good night.
All right. Staff reports. Anybody have anything? Okay, seeing none. Surplus items.
we have a number of items up for, I say up for bids. That's a game show, right? Some things that we have at the maintenance garage, we're going to put on gov deals with your approval to surplus them. On your BOE Connect, you have that list there. I mean, we can go through them all if you want to, but it's basically surplus equipment. Some of it is lighting, some of it is tables, some of it old copier, old shredder. There's a couple old mowers in there that we're going to get rid of. I'd like to, commend Mr. Patrick and his folks. They are we are really trying to get rid of some of the stuff that's just been amassing over the years. And it's kind of it's a pain to get the pictures, get them surplus, get them on GovDeals, get them taken care of, but we need to do it. So we'll be bringing a list like this probably every board meeting if I get the opportunity to put stuff on GovDeals.
That's good, get rid of it.
Chairman?
Yes.
I move for approval of surplusing these items for March 2020.
Mr. Chairman, I second that motion.
Okay, I'm looking. Can I look first?
Sure.
Seeing something you
Well, no, I just,
He wants something at a good deal.
How many lawnmowers you got on there?
There are 2 mowers, and then there's something that was called like a spreader. Is that what it was called? Or
It's just a sprayer.
sprayer.
Okay, there's several pictures of the lawnmower then. Several
Yeah,
pictures.
Yes.
there's 2. I don't know.
He sent them to me, and then, but once we put them on GovDeals, we try to get as many pictures as we can. So I just took everything he gave me and put it all in this. So yeah, they're kind of in little rectangles there. So all those are for that one mower.
I thought there were several lawnmowers.
Oh, no.
She's almost.
I take it wore out.
It's 1,788 hours of mowing.
It just mowed too fast. Mr. McLean, he just mowed way too fast.
Well, that sounds like one you need.
Just mowing.
Looks like a cake pan.
I think that's a table.
Okay.
What's that round thing?
Those are tables.
Okay.
I got maybe from an old art room. That's what I'm talking about. We've got all kinds of stuff like that just laying around. Although I would say Miss Kite, when I told her we were surplusing those cafeteria tables, she sent somebody down there and took all the seats off of it so they could replace them other places. So.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the surplus. Any more discussion? Please vote. Okay. Motion passes. New business? Anybody have anything new business?
Yes, I'd like to bring up a motion I'd like to put a freeze on any hiring for teachers or anything at central office till we find out what our budget is and how many people is going to retire.
Do we hire anybody right now?
I'll second that.
I didn't think we could make motions here in roundtable.
We're not at roundtable, we're at new business.
Well, no way. What type of,
I just put a freeze on hiring for any certified staff for central office until we find out how many people are retiring. And then we do budget. I mean, it'll be next month.
It's a thing now.
You'd probably want to clarify that would be a freeze on a new employee, like a new position, or maybe not an existing, like if we have an existing employee leaves, could we still refill that existing position?
Or interim teacher, somebody who goes on leave or
Yes.
something.
Yeah, it would just be no new
Right.
positions.
A
Got
legally
it, got it.
mandated position falls outside of your motion. A position required by law to cover a classroom would fall outside of your motion.
Right. It'd just be a new position, anything new position or replacing somebody that's retired.
Well, if you're retiring, you gotta replace them.
I'm talking about just replacing them before they retire. You can do one for one, is what I mean, if I need to clarify that. But I'm
It's
saying,
just classified and certified positions, all 1,300 positions,
no, just certified positions.
just professional certified positions.
Right. Until we get the budget done to see what we need.
Well, Chad,
Is that clear?
to be honest about it, that's the director's job. And if he's gonna hire somebody new, he should tell the board before he does anything like that. A position. I mean, it's a budget issue, right?
We hire certified people regularly.
It's because you need that certified person, right? You don't just go out and hire them because they're pretty or anything, do you?
We don't hire anybody that's outside budgeted funds.
Well, that's budgeted funds.
But you could have a budget fund and not have that person right now, and you can still hire 'em. I'm saying put a freeze on that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This motion is stepping on the director's toes. He's got a right to run this organization, and he also has an obligation for any new positions to come to this board for approval, just like he has to come to this board for approval for pay increases for anybody that's in this system. So this motion to me is stepping on the director's toes and crossing the line into micromanagement.
Let me correct that. I don't have to come to this board for pay increase. All I have to do is apply personnel to board approved salary schedules.
Okay, right.
When you set salary schedule, I plug people in.
Right.
Very clear division of labor. I can't give a raise, and I can't plug somebody into a salary schedule.
Sure, yeah, I understand that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think, clarify, all positions are gonna be reviewed during the budget. And you're not talking about anybody that's gonna be in the classroom, you're talking about supervisor, you're talking about creating new positions and so on, is that what?
Right. Until we get done with the budget, that's all I'm saying.
He's got to come to us for new positions anyway, but if 4 teachers quit, he's got to hire 4 teachers to put back in his classroom.
Well, he
I
covered
did.
that in that.
I didn't say nothing about the people that quit. All I said was, if he has 80,000 budgeted extra, he could go out and hire somebody. Right now, I'm saying put a freeze on that, and he can only replace one but one, but he can't add nobody else. Does that make, I mean,
I found
I don't.
no increase in staff until this embargo is lifted.
Until we clarify the budget.
Okay, so if, Dr. Flannery, you feel like you need another assistant, say,
He don't get one.
well, he couldn't anyway, could you, without
Not
coming to this
unless I-
board?
Unless you created
Yeah,
positions.
so any new position,
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
bringing here anyway,
Right, and that's
so.
been my habit since day one.
But you don't have to do it.
Yeah, he does,
New
because it's a
position.
budget issue.
My predecessors have not followed that. I believe the law stipulates I can't increase the workforce without board approval. But if there's an opening, I can fill it.
But you're saying even if there's an opening,
No, I'm saying he could fill an opening.
If there's an opening
He
in
just
a
can't-
board-approved position, I have the.
My
opportunity.
clarification is I want to see how many people, whatever retirement positions we're having to retire this time. And before those are filled, let's make sure that that's what the board wants to do in budget time.
that they need to be filled.
Yes.
I might add that just last month, we voted on him putting a 100 whatever days that's left in the school system at the new Boones Creek School. So we approved a position for him to put there, which was a retired principal that came back. We just approved that at our last board meeting. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. When he's got to have something out of the ordinary, he has to come back to us anyway. So we're just spinning our wheels.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we have eliminated positions when someone has retired. So I understand the concept, what he's trying to cover. So I don't think he's trying to take away from your position.
I'm not saying if a teacher wants to leave English tomorrow, she gets up and retires, and we're just going to have a free period that period. I'm saying teachers wise, that's fine, fill it. Anything above that, let's wait till the budget plays out and let's talk about it, is what I'm saying. That's my motion. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Jennifer, bring us to a vote.
spinning. You've gone to sleep, Jennifer.
Where else do you have this much fun?
Huh?
Where else do you have this much fun?
Very lucrative.
Yeah, no look.
I bet it was really.
Yeah, the back button sometimes helps.
They get us on.
I'm good, I think so, yeah. Yeah. That's it. We gotta follow the lead, you
Okay, motion passes. Anything else in new business, Mr. Gainer?
Well, I've got a question now since it's passed.
Okay.
Will we have to make a motion to lift this at some point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Just
We'll
making
let you
that- Yeah, exactly. I'm just putting it out there.
No, and we'll, my thinking was we would, during the budget, we would.
Okay, move on. Nothing, nobody else in new business? WCEA. Come on down.
Struggling to stand up. We've been talking about Carolyn Bryant and about her being the voice at Washington County Schools for so many years. And would like to put like a book in memory of her for the lobby, or out in the hallway or something that might have school history in it. So we're in the process of trying to find an appropriate book to honor her memory as for all her service to the county. If you think of any book that that does that, we would like to. We're gonna start like at the visitor center, I guess, and see if they have anything that might be along that line. And I wanted to ask Dr. Flannery about those Senate bills again. Do you have those numbers in front of you?
Let me shoot you an email
Okay.
tomorrow before lunch.
Okay.
Some things that would really trouble
Okay.
a lot of people. Yeah.
Okay, because those things like that, we have access to quite a few people who could contact our legislators and let them know, don't support this, and basically that's all.
I wanted to ask if the rally next week, you're gonna be able to meet with the legislatures and.
If, we're not really there to do like a
It's
go
not
in
gonna
and,
be, oh.
no, but some of them are going to be joining us.
Okay.
Or they say they will. There's gonna be a march from the Titans, stadium. There's gonna be several that march in, like Metro Nashville teachers and family and friends and community leaders. Right now, I know of about 10 from Washington County, and probably about 25 from Northeast Tennessee who are going down in a van, and out, and some others who are going in their private vehicles. I know that there's going to be the Tennessee State Band is going to be playing, and some elementary school, middle school choral groups, and so it's going to be, it's not, it's going to be a positive thing, and especially Nashville's been hit so hard. It's just, we have t-shirts that say
So I may
support
just
public
for you to report
education.
back to us next month. and let us
I'm
know.
looking forward to it. Sorry to wear my t-shirt, but I didn't look too professional, I guess. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, round table, and I want to say one thing right now before we get started. Mr. Ganger, was you here when Carolyn was here?
Yes.
You just started, wasn't it?
I think 2 years.
2 years, okay. Me and Mr. McLean and Mr. Gangers, the two, or 3 board members that's still here. Carolyn she was a good woman, and I hate to see she's in a better place right now. So, Mr. McLean, will you please start us in round table?
Sure. Well, I'd just like to add that Carolyn was helpful to me when I first came on the board. I didn't know much about what was going on, and she was always very gracious to help with anything and everything that we needed. And missed her when she left, but we certainly have appreciated Jennifer and all that she's done for us too. So, I know Carolyn will be missed by a lot of her family members. Her mother's still alive. I think she's 95. Is that right, Jennifer?
Yes.
I believe that's right. But, she certainly was a fixture around this board for a long time. A long time. Enjoyed the kids tonight. Jump out of the boat. Congratulations to all the teachers of the year that you presented checks to tonight. And a hearty thanks to all of our teachers and all of our staff for all that they do every day for our children. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Good night to all.
Mr. Hammonds?
Sad to hear about Carolyn. I was just coming on the board, and she was here about 7 months before she had to take a leave, and she was very helpful. So our prayers and thoughts to her family. Enjoyed the school visit today. Enjoyed the Jonesboro kids. Congratulations to the teachers.
Mr. Meredith?
Mr. Meredith.
The only thing that I want to, I mean, a lot of good stuff tonight, but for those of you that don't know it, and I didn't know this until last night and just happened to trip upon it as I was watching Channel 11, but a shout out to Kelly Wagner, who is one of 4 finalists of what incredible women in the Tri-Cities, remarkable women of the Tri-Cities. And tune in tomorrow at noon on WJHL to see how it pans out. Congratulations. That's all.
Okay. Mr. Ganger.
I also want to extend my sympathy to the family of Miss Bryant. I remember one visual I have of her is, you've been in the office with Jim Sitz. It looked a little different when Carolyn was in there. I mean, there were papers everywhere. And I mean, there was a lot of papers that you had to keep track of then, because there wasn't, the computers and all that stuff. And I mean, it was a sight. So, but she was a sweetie and always very helpful, and she will be missed. But I enjoyed being in Boones Creek today. Really the first time I've been in it since we had the grand opening. So it was good to be in there. And good being there with the kids and seeing the kids enjoying the new facility. And I hope eventually we'll give that to the Jonesboro community as well. And one thing I'm really proud of it is just, I know there was a lot of discussion, a lot of people not happy with, 1, the site, 2, the size of it. I mean, there's multiple things, and I think it's in a great location. I think the size of it is showing, because we're getting, it was close to 200, I don't know exactly what the number was, 200 more kids already there, and Mr. Christian, explained how, how he's getting word out for another pre-K, and hopefully, that school, I really feel like in 3 to 5 years will be at its capacity, which is a good thing for this board. I know years past, we've always, many years ago, would try to figure out how we were gonna alleviate some of the students, and I hope we get back to that, you know, if we got too many again. So, and I'm hoping Jonesboro gets open, it'll be the same problem. I mean, that's a good problem to have when your schools are busting at the seams. So that was one of the goals with that Boones Creek, was to try to lift the enrollment up a little bit, and it has. So I hope, you know, with the work of Flannery and staff and everything, you know, I think it's only going to grow. So kudos to Ms. Hughes and Mr. Christian and what they're doing out there to, you know, get the word out. Because he told us a few good things today that'll help get the word out some more. So I was glad to see that school in action. So other than that, that's all I got.
Mr. Flamer?
Want to pass my sympathies on to the family. I didn't know Miss Bryant, but I can only imagine watching Jennifer do her role, juggling a lot of things and doing a great job, and appreciate what she's done for this system. We've lost a lot of good women this year, just a few, Miss Carr, Miss Morrison, and I know Miss Jones, Lakin Jones' grandmother passed away. And just send our sympathies for all those who have lost loved ones this year. But want to echo the teachers that got tenured today. Just a great job. I mean, we are so blessed for this system to have such good teachers, and for the struggles that we have as far as our system, as far as not paying them what they deserve. But they come to work every day, and we've got some real loyal folks, and just appreciate everything that they've done. And for the teachers of the year, I would sure hate to whittle down to 3. I mean, anyone, any classroom we go in, or any, you know, my kids' teachers, I'm just impressed at just the job they do, and that they do every day. Ms. Wagner, good luck tomorrow. Definitely hit the nail on the head for a remarkable woman. Thank you for everything you've done about this coronavirus, and trying to get the heads up on that. We appreciate that. And also want to thank Mike Edmonds for the robotics team there in Lamar, first year ever, and for them to win a teamwork award. Kudos to the kids. And hate I did get to miss the Boones Creek visit today, but it's a great school, great staff out there, great teachers. So thank you. And thank you, Heath and Jennifer and everybody that worked on the BOE Connect before tonight. Appreciate everybody's hard work. Thanks.
Mr. Day?
Good meeting. I mean, there's a million things to say, a lot of great stuff going on. Glad to be a part of it. Appreciate you all.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations to our system-wide Teachers of the Year. They do a great job. And to the tenured teachers, and the Jonesboro Middle students did a good job. And I want to appreciate Jennifer for being trained on this BOE Connect. And I think it's going to be good. It's just going to take us a while to get the kinks out, but I think appreciate you for all the training. And to my mom worked here at the central office and got very close to Carolyn Bryant, so she they've got had some really shared a lot of great moments, and I know I'm saying prayers for her family. And I'm enjoying the school visits, and I also enjoyed going to read with the Read Across America as well. We went to read and ran into Dr. Flannery. But yeah, that's good. Thank you. A lot of good things going on.
Mr. Flannery, do you have anything you'd like to say? Okay. Good meeting. We've got to have another policy meeting, but I've not talked to Ashley to set that up. So do you all feel comfortable about toward the end of the month?
We got can you do it at the end of the month because of spring break?
Well, I
the week before.
you know, somewhere in the 20s, 24, 25. I mean, I actually may not be able to be ready for it. So, but I'm just, yeah. So maybe we'll just wait and set it up next month.
Mr. Chairman, can we go over the calendar for the month real quick?
Thank you.
Click on calendars. School visit on the 10th, which is Tuesday, at Lamar and South Central. And then school visit at Ridgeview and Gray on the 19th. County Commission meeting on the 23rd. School visit Jonesboro Middle, Jonesboro Elementary on the 25th. And then spring break starting on the 30th.
Is it the 25th? I had the 26th.
This says 25th.
Okay, mine says 26,
His says the 26th too.
or my phone.
That's what's on my phone.
Well, what is it? The 25th or 26th?
I've got the 25th.
It is on BOE Connect, but I've got it on my phone as the 26th.
I've got it on my phone too.
I've got my calendar, 25th.
On the school visit?
Yeah.
We'll get in touch with you before.
Is that the one that was moved back to that Jonesboro Elementary and middle?
No.
Conflict?
On your sheet, it's on the list. It's the 25th.
Okay.
Is it the 25th?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Originally, it was the 26th, but I think they got to move it back a day.
Okay.
We rescheduled the other one for.
April 27th.
For Westview,
Very
the 27th of what?
April.
April? Okay.
And then on into April, April 6th is the athletics committee meeting at 4:30. And we'll have a graduation that board meeting at 5.
On which day?
On the April 9th.
9th, graduation?
Yeah, we'll be there at 5.
Can we do, finance that day at 3:30? April 9th? Graduation's at 5.
Okay, anybody got anything else?
I'd like to say something about Carolyn.
Okay.
If it wasn't for her, she knew me back when I was a student at Westview. And her and my mom were really good friends, and she always would tell everybody that when they went fishing, that they would be off fishing somewhere and they'd leave me in the car asleep. That's how long she knew me. But if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be here. I think Mr. Strong I was a little too young for that job, but I remember that Carolyn, after she retired, and we was talking about, how good she was and how did you do it all, and she said, well, I always treated people the way I would want to be treated. And that's the truth. She really did. She really did. But she would joke, and we'd get upset or something, and she'd always say that she was making a list, and when she retired, she was going to call these people and tell them what she really thought. So we still joke about that and say that we're doing that too, but she just leaves so much behind, and I'm so thankful that she was a part of my life.
I took her home one time from here and it's snowing. And boy, it was a snowing too. And she said, Keith, she said, you care if I smoke a cigarette? I said, Lord, no, Carol, smoke away. We hit the road out here and she said, I'm going to have to smoke more than one. It's going to be bad. And it was pretty bad snow. She smoked her a couple of cigarettes and we went.
You could have been your bride.
Green Mountain.
No, we didn't go that far. We crossed the mountain, or crossed the second bridge going to Irwin, and that's where her brother stayed at. She's gonna stay there with him. But now it was flat snowing. We left here one night. Thank you all.
Heath, let's leave these sitting here.
If I said it, it's